Another ride home, another video. Saw an interesting comment on another video I did where someone was wanting their money back, or wanting their time back that they wasted watching my other video. So spoiler alert right up front, if you're here looking for wisdom, yeah, this is not what this is about. On the other hand, who knows, you know. But what I wanted to talk about was, you see a lot of guys, they like to insult people, and this caller is too complicated, doesn't know what it wants to do. See a lot of people talking about simps. You know, if they don't like you, or they want to try and run you down, make themselves feel like, you know, the world's greatest romancer, and make somebody else, you know, look like they're something less, and make fun of them. That's the word that stylish, I guess, today among Philippine expats, to call each other simps and stuff. But you know, I saw a video a while back. You know, people come up with their own new definitions of it too. Like this one guy I saw, his definition was a simp is someone who sends someone money online, which is an interesting new definition. I think he was just saying that though because he's kind of bitter about maybe people sending his ex money online. You know, but everybody, the basic idea though is, you know, if you're nice and maybe overly I don't know, overly nice or whatever, and giving someone attention, or thinking that you're going to get attention from them if you kind of go too far out of your way for it, is what basically the idea is. But generally it's used to insult people, you know, like they're just being taken advantage of or something, and being used or played or scammed. But it brings up an interesting question. Do you have to sleep with everyone that you give money to not feel like a simp? Or to not feel like you were scammed or taken advantage of? Because sometimes, you know, that seems to be kind of the standard that some of these guys use, you know. It's possible to help somebody out, be nice to someone, and in terms of what you yourself are getting out of it, it's not that much, you know. But maybe you're just getting out of it the pleasure of helping them and doing something nice for someone, and making their life better, you know. There's the old saying that there's more happiness in giving than there is in receiving. Now, a lot of people, of course, especially if they're an old guy in the Philippines or whatever, they can't afford to get too crazy giving, you know, because they don't have much to give, and they can't afford to give away the stuff they need just to survive themselves. You know, if you don't take care of yourself, you can't be of any use to anybody else. It's like if you're a police officer rushing to get to the scene of a crime or an accident, and you end up driving recklessly and get into an accident and get yourself hurt or killed, or just your car disabled and you're never able to make it to the scene, then you obviously weren't any good to anybody just because you were in a rush to get there, you know. It's the same thing with your health. If you don't take care of your own health and maintain your strength and your ability to get around and do things, then how are you going to help anybody else? If you don't take care of your own mental health, how are you supposed to be there for anybody else, you know? But that brings us back to the often quoted saying that there's more happiness in giving than there is in receiving. One thing we know about life is that none of the stuff you have is going with you to wherever we're headed next. You know, it's not. your money's not going. We can look inside the pyramids and see all the people there who got buried with their money and all their gold and their jewels and everything, and thought that they were taking it somewhere, and it's still there, okay? It never went anywhere. You can have fame, notoriety, which is nice for right now, but in another couple of generations, when people say your name, everyone's going to look around and say, like, who? Because that's how quickly you will be forgotten. The number of people who actually care about you even today, if you're famous, is very small, you know? They might know you, and they might like your music or your movies or your books or whatever it is, or think you're a funny comedian or whatever. But if you die tomorrow, is it going to affect their life, really? I mean, some of them who are more given to dramatic outbursts might shed a few tears, but everybody else is going to see it on the morning news while they're eating breakfast. And then they're going to say, oh shit, we're late, we got to go, guys, come on. And that'll be it, you know, forgotten. So what can you leave in this world? The only thing that you can leave is the impact you had on other human beings and the way that you helped them to improve their lives, you know? That's your legacy. And even that, as far as people knowing your name, a couple generations down the line, are people going to know? You know, I had somebody send me a message, you know, a long time back. I had helped them out with some stuff, and they sent me a picture of them graduating from college and everything, and they just, you know, look, I just wanted you to know that, you know, that the only reason this happened is because of you and what you did for me, and I really appreciate that. And that made me feel good, you know, even though I don't, you know, that person's not in my life anymore, and I don't, you know, don't sit around and think about them or those days. Still, you know, it's nice to know that there are people out there that you did help with something. And it might not be somebody that you were ever involved with romantically or sexually or whatever. You know, it might just, you know, someone that you had a friendship with. But there's a lot of people, especially in the Philippine expat community, you know, they always want to make videos or have comments about stuff where they run down other people who spend money or help other people or whatever, and want to call them a simp or treat them like an idiot, like they're being scammed. And sometimes it's just a nice person being a nice person, you know? And being a good person, doing good things for other people, helping our fellow humans. You could call it a mitzvah if you want, an obligation before God, something that we need to do, that He expects of us and wants us to do. Or you can just, you know, call it just being nice, you know? But it's something that there's nothing wrong with doing that. There's nothing wrong with being a nice person and being good to people without you yourself getting anything out of it, okay? That's really the mark of someone, whether or not they have good character. If someone only does things for other people because they are getting something back in return, they're not a nice person, you know? They're just a businessman. It's an investment. They're saying, okay, I'm spending this much money on you, and I expect to get something out of it that is worth that much money to me, you know? And sometimes some of the best things we do, the most rewarding things we do, we don't get anything back out of it. No one ever knows we did it. We don't get any awards, you know, but we know that we acted like a good human being and we helped someone. And far too often in this world today, people have lost track of the fact that there's something to be said for that, you know? There's nothing wrong with just being a nice person. And the people who are not nice, the people who are just out there, especially say we're talking about, in terms of helping out women or whatever, the people who just use women for what they can get out of it. And if they're not getting anything out of it, they just say, well, get out of my life. I don't have time to waste on you. What's in it for me, And the mark of a good person, a good human, is someone who isn't always saying, what's in it for me, None of the stuff that we're accumulating can be taken with us. So when we ask ourselves sometimes, why are we here? The age-old question, why did God put me here? Sometimes we have to recognize that maybe the answer is not about us. Maybe it's not all about us. Maybe we weren't put here to get a certain amount of fame or achieve certain things. Maybe we were put here because God knew that at a certain time, at a certain place in the future, we would be there to help somebody else. Maybe we're not here for us, So think about that. Don't let people make you feel bad for being a nice person. There's a lot to be said for just being a good guy.